definitely not. And he doesn't know the first question is coming. But, Jeff, this one is a surprise for you. It's obviously inspired by Phillip Rivers' potential comeback. Jeff, if they needed you to come back and play center at this point. I know you came back and coached when you have been there. Well, you've been there to answer the call.
Definitely not.
When they needed you.
No chance.
How much? A drive? Nothing? No.
Nothing. A drive.
Yeah.
Oh my God. A play, maybe.
Maybe just
maybe
one.
A play.
Maybe just
if I
one
snapped
push,
it when they hit me, not everything would break. Only a few.
Look
bones.
at that man.
Come on, look at that. Look at
That man would
Look
go
at him
play.
cheeks.
He'd go play right now.
Well, how
He'd be
about-
all signed up for it.
You couldn't give him one tush push.
No chance. No chance.
couldn't
I can go real low.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
might fall on me. You know what I mean?
How about you, Lewis? How about if someone needed a hard-hitting neck roll safety?
You know what? If it wasn't for the fact that I had 3 levels of my neck fused together,
Thank
I would
you.
go out there and do it,
Thank
but I
you.
would probably die
Thank you.
if I hit anything right now.
I enjoyed that. Was the team's idea, and I liked that idea.
That's a great one.
Let me get to another one.
A third of your size.
Hey,
the
Jeff,
sizes.
if I said Shedeur Sanders is going to be the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback next year, definitely or definitely not?
I'm going to go Jeff a maybe, honestly.
Jeff a maybe.
I don't
like
think
it.
you can. His progression has been very impressive. I love the way he played against Tennessee. You're seeing him elevate each and every week. I think that's what's expected of a rookie quarterback. And as you're watching him do it, he's doing some impressive things, but that's got to continue. If he stalled from here, you wouldn't go, I'm going to bet the franchise.
Let's live in this one a minute, because the whole story around Shedeur Sanders, maybe partly of his own making, maybe not, I really don't know, has become impossible, I think, to correctly digest, because there's so much stuff going on that has nothing to do with football for whatever reason. But if he had been a second-round pick instead of a fifth-round pick, and we were watching these games the way we are watching them now, Lewis, what would we be saying?
I'm glad you said a second-round pick, because there's a guy in New Orleans right now who's a second-round pick,
Tyler
Shuck, who
yeah.
everybody's going, hey, we got our guy now. Right, but there was a lot of stuff surrounding him too when he came out.
Yeah.
I think with Shedeur, if you look at this game, against Tennessee in particular, look at the 3 touchdown throws that he had, and just think about it. I mean, the 2 in the end zone to, he had 2 of them. One to David Njoku, that was the first one, and the other one to Fannin. Exactly, the touch that he puts on that ball.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of fading away from pressure. That's next level stuff. The touchdown to Jerry Jeudy, where he looks off the middle of the field safety so he can hit Jeudy on that slant, on that bang 8 that they call it, and then he splits them and goes the distance. That's next level stuff. That's the kind of stuff you would dream about a rookie quarterback being able to execute on a consistent basis. I don't think there's any question.
Any question of what?
That he should be considered for being the future of the franchise quarterback.
Well, there's so many things happening. I think what hurts him is the fact that Cleveland will have multiple first-round picks next year. And is 8 games enough of a sample size to say for sure when we have a chance to get a quarterback in the draft and bypass that and instead go offensive line, wide receiver, and say we've got the quarterback? I just don't know. The play calling in Cleveland is a bigger issue to me, why we are taking him off the field when he's been balling. That I just think there's a lot of things in Cleveland that just don't make sense. But if you are the GM, if I'm Andrew Berry, I want him to be the guy because it makes it easier to build around him.
Yeah.
We just
they got a bunch of great young players.
Wonderful
What do you think of it?
I think he absolutely has earned himself an opportunity to compete for that job, and he didn't have that going into this season. So that's a major plus from last year. This year he can come in, he can win that job, he could do so even in these months leading up to the draft, being the leader over the offseason.
They didn't even let him in the stadium 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, much
No
less
one
get
thought he
any
would be.
work.
People didn't think he would actually be on the roster at this point. So what he's doing.
balling, man.
He's by so far the best quarterback they have. It's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that it took them this long to get to him is ludicrous.
But you see that just speaks to how the conversation surrounding quarterbacks gets hijacked more times than not.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with football.
Right.
It always has to do
Especially
with,
with him.
Exactly. But it happens to many quarterbacks. We can go through a list of guys this year who that has been the conversation. Then as soon as they start playing well, people go, boop.
Yeah.
Right.
It's silence.
So we'll see. Let me get to the last one because that one I think is interesting. Let's see how he plays again this weekend. Jeff, one more. If I were to say George Pickens is going to make a statement in a big game against the Vikings on Sunday, you go definitely or definitely not?
Definitely. Look, I think he's coming off that performance on Thursday night where he disappointed in the way he played. Most receivers, they got something about him, want to come back and be the guy. And I get CeeDee Lamb is up in the air with the concussion. We don't know if he'll be there or not. He needs to go out and show, hey, this was the anomaly. This is not, or this is the exception, not the rule. of how I played the other night. I'm going to go get better. That's what great players do as they bounce back.
I've been promising the Jerry Jones sound all morning long, so let's hear it. Jerry Jones not the least bit concerned about Pickens as the Cowboys play this must-win game. Here's what he said.
Just so that I'm real clear about it, I don't have the concern that the debate about what George Pickens did or didn't do in that game, I don't have that kind of concern about him as far as his competing and helping us win football games on the field at all.
So the Pickens piece of this is one piece. We'll wait and see what happens as far as that is concerned. Let me dive deeper into this. There's so much conversation about can the Eagles blow the division, can the Eagles blow the division, and we will get back to them, but they're going to have to lose 2 games and the remaining schedule is really easy. Buried underneath that is, and the Cowboys have to win out. They have to win all the remainder of their games. Are we confident after what we saw from them last Thursday night they're ready to do that?
Yes. Yes, I think they actually competed pretty well with the Detroit Lions. If Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't go for 1,000 yards all over them, that we're talking a different story here. I think the Cowboys are playing a playoff caliber football. The truth of the matter is, it is not a sure thing that the Eagles win 2 of their next 4 games. It is not a sure thing that they beat the Raiders over the weekend. It's not a sure thing that they beat the Commanders the week after that. The Eagles are playing as bad as any team in big spots, while the Cowboys have risen to the occasion. So it is still an open conversation. They did not lose out on a chance to win the NFC East by simply losing that game.
I guess my point is they can't do it without help. Like they need the Eagles to completely
They
collapse
need a complete
also.
meltdown.
Yeah.
And so that, so we've got the Pickens of it all and the Cowboys of it all. And are you confident that they are going to now win out the remainder of their games?
The Cowboys?
Yes.
No, I'm not confident in that. I don't believe that necessarily is going to happen. I don't necessarily believe that Philadelphia is going to not be able to win 3 of 4, or that they're going to collapse and only win maybe 2 of 4 and allow Dallas to catch them. I think Philadelphia ultimately finds a way to finish this season off and get into the dance and then let the chips fall where they may. I think with Dallas, look, they've been a great story. We've talked about them extensively here. And I was a believer, just like you, that a lot of the moves that they made really did pay dividends. But we also saw against Detroit, and we broke this down very extensively, a lot of things got exposed in that game too. The secondary is still a problem. The offensive line on the perimeter at the tackle positions can be a problem for this football team. And I think those, and then look, if CD isn't there, I think, look, Kimberly brought up a great point here this morning. If CD isn't there this week, then we will see whether or not Jerry has something to be concerned about with George Pickens. Because then he's going to have to go, against the team that's going to have a full week to say, hey, look, we're going to take him out of the game.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and make sure we get inside his head because we saw what everyone else saw. He can deny it all he wants, but everyone else saw this was a guy who looked clearly like he was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
So you think they're not going to push those buttons? Of course they are.
Which is no different than it was in Pittsburgh. But when you talk about the Lions matching up with the Cowboys, based off of who the Cowboys have left on their schedule, is it the Chargers that you're thinking is going to challenge them the same way as the Lions? Is it the Giants? Is it the Commanders? Like when you look at the 4 games they have left, where's the hiccup that you think if CD's on the field and Pickens and Dak is balling that they can't beat?
Well, I'm saying this. Okay, so there's no way I'm going to say any of those teams have the same kind of offensive firepower that Detroit has, but I will say this. All it takes is, look, we know this is an explosive play league. All those teams have the ability to create explosives and exploit your secondary 2 or 3 times a game, which is all it takes.
Right. Okay.
That's all it takes, right? Because it's a big play league. I'm not going to say, though, that obviously, look, their margin for error against those teams is much greater than it is against Detroit.
Yeah.
Against Detroit, you have little to no margin of error.
Detroit got after them.
Exactly.
Get in here, Jeff.
Yeah, Detroit got after them. I mean, I was disappointed in the defense on the defensive side for Dallas against Detroit. I thought they would have shown better. I think Dallas has the foundational pieces, and I would still say if they got into the dance, they would be super scary because of what Dak can do with CD and Pickens and Ferguson. But they did get exposed. And when you saw them play the big boys, right? And to think Detroit's still on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Detroit got after them, physically got after them. I don't think any of those 4 teams do the same.
Quick final word.
Quick final word is they're a completely different team than the ones that we were pounded on earlier in the season. They can still compete. And when you add Quentin Williams and you add these guys, they are a danger every single week. If they get into the dance, they get into the dance. I'm just saying.
Especially because they would win the division, which means they would get a home game. They're not getting in as a wild card. So they would have to win the division, which means they would get at least 1 game at home. Let's get